I would like to follow on that, Heidi, because I was thinking about the importance of these indigenous societies in your work. You've mentioned them twice now. If you can talk a little more about that, the importance of reaching them, of knowing them, of um, giving them space to talk. You have a book that you edited that all the writers are from these societies. You've mentioned them getting to know each other on the World Congresses. Can you tell us a bit more about the importance of these societies?
Yeah, I think these are the last societies we have today which live a completely different model of life than we usually have. An egalitarian model of life with a balanced economy. So they are really important and precious to us that we can still learn from them. For the patriarchal model of the world has spread everywhere, and today they try even to undermine and destroy the last matriarchal society. So I think it's high time to learn from them. They show a different model, which is very old. It's age old. I think it goes back to Neolithic times and sometimes some to Bronze Age times. Very old. But to live in these communities where everybody has his or her voice and solving conflicts without any violence, and where you don't find any violence against women and children. This is so important that we know about them and learn from them. And of course, they are isolated in the modern national states where they're existing today, and they are threatened because we saw it with the Muslim. They are told by the Chinese central government that their social patterns are backward. They're sometimes even told they are a societal fossil. Could you imagine this? Yeah. And they shall develop. Yes, they shall develop into patriarchy, but they don't want. They really don't want to do that. So for us, it's important to learn from them. Not that we can imitate their patterns, of course not. We cannot imitate traditional matriarchal patterns, but they can give us a lot of inspiration to create new modern matriarchal patterns. So I'm very happy that I could study from them and learn from them, and I hope they will have enough stamina with their resistance that they really live on. I find it always very astonishing that they are still there after hundreds, sometimes millennia of years of oppression of the surrounding patriarchal societies. They are very clever to keep their traditions, and they are very proud of their traditional patterns. And I can say the men are, in most of the cases, the men are the strongest defenders of their own societies. It's their ethnicity, it's their culture. They don't want to live in a different way.
I think it's something very important because we invite them to write, for example, your book. Also, you give a space for them. So it's not only Heide talking about societies or matriarchal societies. So I think you inspire us to, like you said, that they are your truly teachers. The matriarchal societies are truly teachers about you. I think it's very interesting, very important for me, inspire in your work, saying that because you give space for them.
Yeah, thank you, Andre. That's true. From all their surroundings, they are silenced. And from the Euro-American science, they are silenced again. They don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist. They tell us they don't exist. And yes, this is what I could give as a thanks back to them, to give them voice in my book and to give them space in the world congresses that their voices are heard. And I'm very happy that I know that now the movement of indigenous peoples has created a seat and a forum at the UN, United Nations organizations. They have it there. But of course, there all these indigenous peoples of all different kinds come together. I think the indigenous societies of these matriarchal patterns still need more voice because they are still different from patriarchal indigenous societies and mixed indigenous societies. This is not all the same. And so I try to name them again and again and tell people in our Western societies and Southern white dominated societies what we can learn from them and how important it is that they are there. And as far as it is possible for me, I try to support them.
It's amazing. Do you know if they still keep in contact, Heidi, the ones that met during the congresses? Do you know if their friendship continued?
Yeah, it's a good question, Mara. But before we had these congresses, they didn't know from each other. When we had some representatives of them at these congresses, they told, oh, we didn't know that other people in the world have the same patterns. We were always told we are the only one and we are backward and so on and so on. Then they felt isolated and sometimes ashamed of their way of life. Huh? But at this congress, they came together and it was really touching when I saw how they recognize each other in India and America, and we did it several times, 3 times to bring them together. And after this, I asked them to create a network among them. I didn't want to do this network. I'm a white woman. I didn't want to make a kind of hierarchy of this. I gave all the information about them to themselves and asked them to create a big network, and they did it. They did it. They are now connected. You can see this with the Grandmothers' Council. Many of these Grandmothers' Councils come from matriarchal societies, and they are worldwide. They come from Americas, North America, South America, Tibet, and so on and so on. So they understood it, and now they collaborate beyond the boundaries of continents.
Amazing, amazing. And you're right.
This at least I could do for them, and I'm glad that it worked.
And you're absolutely right. You know, we traveled to a few of these societies. All of them are called the last matriarchy. All of them.
Yeah, yes. You can see it in the mainstream press. Sometimes a sensation comes up. The last matriarchy, as if they are living isolated. The mind of the Western people does them isolate again. Yeah, always the same. And when they come up with a sensation, and they don't understand what this means to us in our modern times. We are so much fed up with patriarchy and its continued crisis, one crisis after the other. So many people are looking for a new model, but you cannot invent a model in an abstract way. It would remain abstract. Here we have a model of a completely different way of life, and this model is age-old, millennia old, and it's functioned over millennia. So there we can learn for our own future.